We never think about it. It's a very strange thinking. And then we talk about if the farmer wants to increase a small amount of price, and the hue and cry. If a bhindi costs, let's say 20 rupees from 20 to 25, majority of you will have a placard and in the church gate, you will be always standing, the prices have risen, etc. What nonsense. Because the hard work, the amount of total inputs that the man has put, 75% he does not get a single thing. And this is the basic thesis of our work, which I started almost 20 years ago, and which became a national policy. I said these agricultural residues can provide a huge amount of energy for this country. And the high quality energy, because these residues can produce electricity and liquid fuel. And this is something that you should be setting up your enterprises, how to produce energy, both electricity and liquid fuel from agricultural residues. And technologies are available. What is required is setting up an enterprise, and by doing that, you will be putting in a huge amount of money back to rural areas. Because the people who have cars, the people who want electricity, are the people who have money. And they will require money and liquid fuels coming from rural areas, and that is where the money will go. The potential is tremendous, around 90,000 megawatts. This is almost more than 50% of the total installed capacity of India. It can totally change. You can ask why it is not happening. When I set up this program in 1994, there was no Electricity Act. Electricity Act came in 2003, so nobody wanted to put in the money. After 2003, then slowly started as a trickle. Now, according to the latest information that I have, there are 141 plants running on biomass agricultural residues in the country, and they are funded from different banks and agencies, etc. And if you do that, then around 4 lakh crore per year industry can become. And this can be a huge input to rural areas. Tremendous wealth will flow to rural areas. India then can join the ranks of developed countries. And our work on Taluka energy self-sufficiency became a national policy in 1996. This is what happened. From which all these programs came out. In fact, the first thing that happened was, because we did this in 1990, when nobody even thought about it. We took Phaltan Taluka, we measured all the agricultural residues that were produced in the Taluka. We in fact even actually physically measured a little small amount. We developed a whole profile, and that was a profile which now is being used by the government of India into looking at all talukas in how much they produce actually. And majority of this, the sad part is, the data base is so bad. A lot of these guys take our report and they just copy that and they say this is what it produces. It's very sad. So actually the numbers that the government of India sometimes keeps on throwing is not believed. And I believe that there are much more agricultural residues available as compared to what government can say. And this is a gasifier that you will also see. This is a half a megawatt thermal gasifier, which we developed in 1997. It is a completely computer-based system. And in all these things, we are so ahead of time. And now there is a huge amount of demand for these gasifiers. So somebody is now taking this up on large-scale manufacturing for the sugar factories in Mexico. Sophisticated technology needed in farming. Lacking in India. The best brains are needed in agricultural science, technology, and management. Engineering and management students need in this. How many of you have relatives who have gone in agriculture? Who have gone in agriculture? Why did they go in agriculture? Huh? Huh? I can't hear you.
They stay in the village.
So have they studied agriculture or they just
studied one of my brothers?
When you do not get into anything, engineering or medicine or MBA or law, you go in agriculture. This is a sad state of affairs. Am I right? This is a sad state of affairs in this country. We need the best brains in agriculture. We are not doing enough research. In fact, most of the seeds of our country are coming from the major multinationals who do very good research. Our quality of research has gone down, quality of research not only in seed, and the quality of research in the machinery. Our agriculture is still in the stone ages. We hardly use any mechanical power. The amount of the tractors etc. you see, they are spreading, but the percentage is very small. And because of that, our productivity is very good. And it requires a very sophisticated technology, especially in an Indian scenario where the land areas are very small. Because every family, because of fragmentation, have very small areas. So we have small farms. And if I import the technology from America, it is meant for 200 acres, 300 acres. I need machinery for 1 or 2 acres. And this is what is called as precision agriculture. And precision agriculture is now being followed in the rest of the world. In India, it is not it's not a luxury, it's a necessity. And precision agriculture requires a tremendous amount of inputs of technology. And that's where I think what is needed, and this is what my message now. I give a lot of lectures to agricultural universities. I'm invited to a lot of them. I always say that we best range for agriculture. And we should be able to produce a whole, just like the IT revolution, we should have an agricultural revolution. In developing high-tech small farm machinery, inputs needed from packaging, computer industry, with these robots, etc. And I'll show you that I'll talk about. We need a mechanical weed remover, we need solar power scarecrow, so many things we need. And I have given this, a lot of these problems to IITians. They are looking at this BTech and MTech project. They don't want to come here, they don't want to do things. They just want everything right up and they'll make some problem. So it's very sad. The need for mechanization of farms on large scale, need to make it glamorous. I'm sure that some of you will go into, you already were in marketing, some of you will go into advertisement. Have you seen any advertisement in which a person is shown working? Most of the advertisements are a person is working on the computer, in an air conditioned office. Have you seen an advertisement where the person is working on a tractor? Tractor operation. It's never listened to us. It's never glamorous. In fact, it's a very sad state of affairs that nobody who is a farmer today, their children want to go into farming. We get a large number of students here whose families in farming and they want a best job. They all go to urban areas. So that's why it's a very strange thing for you to hear that you say that they are coming back. It's a very strange. Because our experiences, all of these people would like to have a best job. So I asked one boy, I said, why the hell are you interested in this? And he gave me a very good answer. He says, I cannot get married. If I tell anybody that I am a farmer's son going to farming, I'll never get married. If you make that farming glamorous, then he'll get a good life. And that will be the basis of how the farming can again become a very thriving business. So what we are doing now, we are leasing these farms. In fact, the farmer today wants to, the first time if you come and tell him that I need your land for a mall, he'll be the happiest person in the world. We are converting huge acreage in this country into roads, just out in front of us. Huge area of our institute is going into the stupid road. First of all, nobody knows why we need a 4-lane highway. Because the bigger the project is, the more money to the corrupt politicians. This is a fact of it. If you are interested, look into the whole process of how the traffic flows, and if you can do that, you will find that majority of times we don't require 4-lane highways. Because there is a law of roads. The bigger the road you make, the sooner it will fill the traffic. It's a law of the road. What you need is a very good analysis of how much traffic is coming. I don't think these guys will do this kind of analysis. And if you get to the case, they would have just made this road slightly broader. Very good tar road, traffic flow. I've gone all over the world and very good roads, narrow roads, and huge amount of traffic flows. 4-lane highways, but 4-lane highways is taking a huge amount of land. Farmers are very happy because they are getting very good price for land. And this is the time. Unless we make farming very remunerative and glamorous, we are in very bad shape in this country. As young people, MBAs and engineers, who can do that. Think about it. Now, if I just the last thing, if energy from agriculture picks up, there will be pressures on the land, and water will become the critical issue. It already is. Rainwater harvesting and storage in earthen dams. Rainfall in India is so much. Water usage is only 16% of rainfall. The problem is that it rains only in a short time. It rains at different places where we don't want water. So there is a mismatch. And that is where the whole purpose of rainwater harvesting comes. We have been talking about Water Act. You know the Electricity Act. Are you aware of the Electricity Act? In 2003, India promulgated an act which had a far-reaching consequences. In fact, the funny part was, our previous act was the 1870 Act. All the government acts were what we were carrying. And 2003 was an act which allowed every private person, every private company to produce electricity, distribute electricity, and transmit electricity. And then the electricity regulators came who would just look at the tariff and etc. But this whole sector was thrown open to private enterprise. The same situation is in water. Majority of the water bodies in this country, or as a matter of fact, in the majority of the other countries also, is owned by government. After all, what stops me in my village to dig up a huge pond, collect rainwater? Government does not control rain. The rain comes with every person's house, with every person's land. You collect this rainwater and buy this rainwater as a commodity. But this is something which is a part of your social enterprise. And this can be tremendous enterprise and can be very useful. There is a lot of technology involved. How to reduce the cost, how to make it beneficial to both the partners. So this is what we are thinking of Water Act. Some states have already started doing it, and I think it's a matter of time before the Water Act will come. There's a lot of talk in the Planning Commission and others where they are talking about it, just like the Electricity Act, we should have a Water Act. At taluka and village level strategy of combined power and water utilities, two gases of power plant can use water purification. Again, the same thing that we talked about the strategy for rural development. High technology need for water purification and distillation. Distillation places where there is not water and is next to the ocean. Nanoparticles as food catalysts for water purification. What is this music? Is one of your drivers? Just go and see. We did an interesting study on using solar energy for water purification. Just to give you a simple example, you all drink bottled water. In fact, I want to give that water that we boil from our stove. So we said, what can we do with solar energy to do that? And then we did a lot of experiments, and we found that if we take 4 layers of cotton sari, pass the water through it, and then use a simple solar heater. So even in rainy days, you can get around 60 degrees Celsius. Then it removes 100% of total pollutants. This is a paper that is sent to the International Level of Solar Energy. And to my mind, at such low temperature, you can really remove it. If you do not filter it through this cotton sari or some cotton material, then you cannot use 60 degrees Celsius. You use this is called as a pasteurization at 70 degrees Celsius, but we have been able to bring it down to 60 with this. It's a very simple, cheap method. This is also one of the social enterprises. Yeah.
Could you explain that point? Few gases of power plants.
See in a power plant, For example, diesel genset. 30% of the total energy of diesel is used in producing electricity. 70% simply goes as heat. So I can utilize that heat in cleaning the water, boiling. This is a substantial amount of energy. One can do that.
So, this is degrees Celsius for an hour.
Yeah.
Does the water get exposure of the sunlight?
No.
So UV component is not present.
Because you see, the interesting part is UV simply vanishes when the water is turbid.
We are filtering.
The filtering is all the turbid is not. Some still remains.
It's only the temperature, not the exposure.
No. Only the temperature, because any solar collector can raise this temperature.
So this can be indoors.
Yeah.
And just taking the energy from outside device and transferring it.
So now we talk about social enterprises. Small water utilities for villages. Now I think the noise coming from there. So you cannot. Who is the voice? So 400 for the water act. Then micro power utilities 100 to 500 kilo capacity running on renewable energy use of AC infrastructure. Now this is something which is really a good enterprise for some of you. Every village which is 3,000 to 4,000 population requires around 500 kilowatt of electricity, both for agriculture purposes and for other purposes like lighting, fans, and so on. And if you set up an enterprise like that, then the Electricity Act provides a mechanism by which you will get a very good amount of money per kilowatt. At the same time, you will also be able to supply. In fact, the government of India has set up this what is called as the Rajiv Gandhi Vidyut Yojana, which is specifically meant for that. And this is something which is really interesting. And a classical example are these guys in Bihar who set up this what is called as rice husk power. And they are setting up these small plants. They are not setting up 500 kilowatt unit. They are setting up 10 or 20 kilowatt unit running on this rice husk gasifier. Very simple device, cleaning up the engine periodically, but providing power. Now, how good is the business model right now? And that is where the EU MBAs come in picture. And in fact, these are the things that I am telling you. Prepare some business plan for this. It will be a very good exercise for you. Even if you want, do not set up physically, but at least it should be economically viable. And I think that is something which is very possible. Then we talked about Taluka power utilities because it came from our work. And so 10 to 20 megawatt biomass based plants. Today most of these plants are 6 to 10 megawatt, there are only 40. And this is also a very good enterprise. How to set up each of these plants cost around, every of these such plants around 5 crore per megawatt. So we are talking about 50 to 100 crores. You will get the loans and etc. And this is a very major enterprise. The electric cycle rickshaws. This is really requires a business plan. Nothing else. And I can, since you are a whole day here, we can discuss this because there's very interesting interplay dynamics between the rickshaw owners and the rickshaw pullers. Because I was the first one to develop all this program in 1995. I interviewed hundreds of rickshaw pullers, 50 or 60 rickshaw owners, and a lot of interplay. At the time, nobody knew what the rickshaw dynamics. And my editorial article in the Economic Times came in 1997. The first time about this electric cycle rickshaws. And then there was a lot of people who are working on it. They are setting up small bank loans, etc. It's a very interesting, simple process of business plan. And if you make a business plan, then this thing can spread last year. And you'll see this electric cycle rickshaw. Now, PV powered fans and refrigerators. You know about PV photovoltaic? Why should, what is, production of electricity from solar to this very costly panels. It's a very high quality energy, very costly energy. Why should it go for less? A high quality energy which comes from this very sophisticated device should go to the things which we require most. And to my mind, cooling fans is something which is not being looked at. People have done some work. And it's a great technological challenge because to produce a fan which with the minimum amount of power forces maximum amount of air is a great fluid mechanics challenge. It has not been attempted. There are some companies which have done that, some fancy design. But how to do that? Then you can produce a nice speed power fan. And more than that are the refrigerators. In fact, when we go and talk to these people, you see, the poverty, they go and get money, and then from the field, they go to the kirana shop, they buy the rations or whatever it is, and they come and home and cook. A lot of times when they go to the previous shop, the things are not available. And so they come and cook whatever they have. In fact, this is a really remarkable process where we thought for the first time that we should have a rural restaurants where with a UID card, if I am a BPL, in fact I talked to a lot of member of parliament and they were very thrilled by that. He said, there's an article that I am writing on that. And they said it's a really remarkable process because the same restaurant, you can go, people like us, will pay 50 rupees, 60 rupees, but a UID card is only 10 rupees. Because again, thinking about this, how it came, this poor woman who works for 7 to 8 hours in the field, she is so tired and she comes home and cooks for 7 to 8 members of family. Would you like to do that? Would anybody like to do that? Plus, the amount of food that they are getting from this PBS is so small, so whatever they get, they eat. In fact, the biggest problem in India is malnutrition. And malnutrition has a very long-lasting effect on the quality of brain of a child and the quality of brain of a human being. And we are creating a whole generation of people in this country who are brain challenged. Generally, I am very proud to say that I'm Indian. I think generally we are a very bright race, very intelligent race. But this malnutrition, we are creating a whole generation of population. So we said to ourselves, can we create, and you know, this is a fantastic enterprise, high technology, and if you look at the energy usage, if I cook in a restaurant, per kilogram of food produced, I use much less energy as compared to the energy that I am using in my house. So every way it will reduce. Why such a program failed in the schools? Because the teachers were asked, you cook. You see, it has to be an enterprise. I should just go, and even if the food is simple, I'll still get much more nutrition as compared to what I have. So this is something to think of. Prepare a business plan. Let's see a lot of business plans. Would you do that? Or you say yes and out of sight, out of mind? And I shall make sure that they do my business plan. Make a business plan. Send it to me. Let us see what we get. Then high-tech agriculture, solar power scarecrow, intelligent weed removal, precision and user-friendly farming tools. In fact, I always dreamt of a small tractor. I sit in the cabin, air conditioned, air cooled. I can do 8 hours, 9 hours work. What stops you? Have you tried a tractor? How hard it is. The sun, the wind, at 45 degrees Celsius, the wind. That's why nobody wants to do that. So make it glamorous. And technology is what makes it glamorous. IT-based medical diagnostic solutions, BP checking, BCG, all these new applications that I have. I spoke about earlier. Snake bites. In fact, snake bites is a very remarkable process. I'll give you a small story. This guy was watching this person who was very expert in treating snake bites. This is a local Ponga Pandit. He was literally, this is, I should learn this. So he said, can you teach me? I said, yeah, sure, you join me. So for 10 years, he said, can you teach me? He said, just keep on watching. So after 15 years, the guy was about to die. He says, I'll teach you now. So he said, 90% of the snakes are non-poisonous. And 10% people came late. He says, why didn't you teach me all this before? He says, you would have taken care of me. You find another fool like you. 90% of the people who die in India, they die because of fright. If you have a phone, even if the bite mark, and there are now mechanisms, and the doctor can tell you through the phone that this is not poison. You just treat it and it's all right. So many things can come. I'm just giving you one example. Then plant identification, a lot of farmers come to us bringing the leaf. There's no need for that. You just take a photograph, send it. A lot of times we may not know ourselves, and there are agencies in this world which can tell you exactly what is plant is about. Then spreading landscape type technologies, cooking, lighting, clean water, and especially the thermoelectric element. And this requires a business plan. And this I need immediately because we are working on it. How do we sell this slope on the way landscape? And this is something which, if some of you are interested, this can be done immediately. This also can be very useful. For example, this eating facility or the restaurant, but this cooking system is possible. And then it's a very sad state of affairs. I don't believe that. Do we have an animal division? Because I think this world will collapse because we become all meat eaters. This world will collapse because I can feed 10 people from 1 acre of land, but I can feed only 2 people with their only meat eaters. Meat is required, but reduce your consumption drastically. This is a sad state of affairs all over the world. But as the country progresses, the 2 things go exponentially up. Meat consumption and alcohol consumption. 2 things go up drastically very fast, meat and alcohol consumption. So meat consumption is going very much up. Most of these animals are in the rural areas. What is required is a very sophisticated, small scale meat processing plant. I don't need to take this whole mass to Bombay to process. It should be a small scale meat processing plant in rural areas. And this can be a very major enterprise. And you can make a lot of money. That's what you MBAs are, money. And then finally, the most important thing is the need for modification in curriculum to incorporate social mechanisms. I think this is, I started this program 3 years ago when I was honored by IIT Kanpur with the 50th anniversary. So I suggested that in IIT Kanpur, since in Namada, we should have a social enterprise as a BTech. And for MBAs, we do this. And all IIMs everywhere that I talk, I think this is the really required. And just not touching it, just not passing an exam. Really set up interaction with the people who are practitioners of social enterprise. Now we come to the philosophy issues. Since social enterprise is a tough calling, you have to have a very powerful mind and capability to work hard in accelerating. Develop a habit of focusing on tasks. Great inventions and ideas have come from intense concentration. Practice yoga. It helps in concentration. Attention deficit syndrome is a disease. I am glad at least they are not texting. It's amazing how much time you spend on mobile phones. It's a very interesting exercise. Do it for yourself. Just write for 15-20 days how much time you spend on mobile phone. How much time you spend on Facebook? we are becoming like animals because we have a whole load of information. So we react. The difference between human beings and animals is human beings can think, analyze, look at things rationally because of deep thinking. Animals react. But we are becoming like animals. Yeah. Because all the time, a small tingle will come. In fact, I'm amazed that people, how they know that their phones are ringing. They're so tuned to it. Whether it is what's it called? Vibration mode or whatever it is, just immediately. Can you do this for me one day a week? Just shut off the motion. It's very interesting. Gandhiji used to do that. One day a week is to have a mantra. Mantra means to have a talk. People ask him, I said, why do you do that? He says, it allows me for the first time to think deeply about it. And if you shut off for a day, and then also write whether you survive or you die. I'm sure there are people who may just not be able to survive. We had some interns who came and because in the rural area you don't get too good a signal, and Aisha can tell you because she tried a lot of times calling me. And there was no signal and he felt that there was a signal. Just do that. Because you should have time for yourself. And when you think deeply, it helps you in becoming a very good person who will be able to solve any problem. Because it's the brain which makes you solve a problem. Develop a can-do approach. You should bubbly with ideas. Best ideas are the maximum. The more ideas you will have a high quality, with much more chance of producing one great idea. If you have no ideas, you will never have it. Be positive in your approach. Rise above the negative things, make them irrelevant. This is how nature evolves. Nature never pulls people down. It evolves in a branching. It branches. When this is called the critical point, it branches. So whichever branch comes in equilibrium, it evolves. Whichever branch does not come in equilibrium, it dies. It becomes irrelevant. Make things irrelevant. Rise up. Don't worry about the outcome. Positive things will happen. You are doing the society work for your own benefit, discipline, discovery, and happiness. You are doing it for your own. In fact, I have always wondered, and when I talk to a lot of my father's friends, what made Gandhi click? What made Gandhi do what he did? And I came to this conclusion that he did this because it gave him a great high. Helping others gave him a great high. He made it into a ritual. It was almost like a religious form. Cleaning people's feet, cleaning the wounds of a leper, it just gave him a great high. And I think all of us have this tendency. If you help, you will have. In whatever manner, whatever you rationalize is giving back to society. I get a very great high in talking to recruits like you, seducing you. This is my high. That's why anytime anybody invites me to a test, just last week I went to Odisha. There were these toppers of the whole Odisha board, 400 class 11 class 12 students. I enjoyed. 2 hours, we had a great discussion. Everybody gets high in doing that. Follow the Wikipedia model. How many of you work in Wikipedia? Have you entered something? Yes. Good. You will make a Wikipedia for us, for our institute. That's our salvation. Now in Wikipedia, you really put in the knowledge. Does anybody pay you? Why do that? You get a high. Huh?
Spread the knowledge.
Whatever it is, you get high. Nobody pays for you. And yet, millions of people want to work in the Wikipedia. So modeling already exists. Can't you do that for helping the poor and the people who do not have enough in your own country to do that? That's how it should be. Tremendous satisfaction and happiness results in helping others. How to create personal happiness? Happiness is a state of mind. You start feeling happy when you become internally secure. Deep thought or Sayyam. Where did this word Sayyam come from? What is Sayyam? Huh? Patience. Come on. In regular colloquial thing, Sayyam means control. Sayyam Matra. Keep Sayyam. Control. This word was first to my mind was given to the mankind first time in Patanjali Yoga. In Patanjali, he defines Sayyam as a combination of meditation, contemplation, and samadhi. Because the whole basis of yoga is a control of thought waves. And so he defines Sayyam that when you have this, which means you control your thought waves to focus on a single thought, in which you contemplate, meditate, and ultimately have a samadhi on that thought, and then you really make a change in thought. And that is what gives us a sense of calmness, sense of internal peace, and internal security. And a powerful mind can move mountains. Besides, it makes you very sensitive to surroundings and gives you a certain perspective of life. And this is the genesis of wisdom in our lives. When you react, you will never get wisdom. When you react, you will never think deeply. Sit for some time. Shut off your mobile phone, just for a day. And you will start seeing a lot of differences. Because that is what you should do to become a social being. This internal security also helps us become less greedy for material resources. And this is the genesis of spirituality and creation of corruption in society. Corruption does not come from outside. Corruption comes from inside. When we become greedy, this is the first step in corruption. And this is the example I gave you. You never think about why you need that. You go on a binge of shopping. Do you ever take a deep breath and say that you really require that? Think about it. Spirituality is different than religious. Spirituality is a universal phenomenon. It is about self, about eternity. Spirituality helps us becoming much more sustainable. Motto of simple living and high thinking should be followed. And examples of Mahatma Gandhi and Einstein, we should do very simply and yet use the highest quality of thought that mankind has. And if you follow this motto, then one can live a very decent lifestyle with 50 to 60 gigajoules per person per year. And then go back to my first slide that I showed, that 1,200 kilograms of oil equivalent that I showed is equivalent to 50 to 60 gigajoules. But Americans consume 350 gigajoules per person per year. They are the biggest polluters of this world. And every Indian, Chinese, or anybody in the world aspires to that quality of life. And what a wasteful quality. And yet, everybody wants that. And if you have this just 50 to 60 gigajoules per person per year, which is a doable goal, within the limits, within the resources that India has, then we can become a very self-sustainable and a very decent society. For that it requires that you should not live in a $1 billion home. That you should not have 200 to 300 shirts and pants. You should not have hundreds of things which you don't need. You should have things which you require. You should not live like a Gandhi. Gandhi lived without anything. But you can live with less energy by having the things that you want. If every citizen of India follows US consumption, I know by the way, 50-60 gigajoules per person is my own numbers. I did for 3 to 4 years a very detailed analysis of the total amount of energy that I consume. And I think I live a very sustainable and a very emotionally satisfying life. I am not devoid of anything. And yet you can, just till last month, I used to drive my 30-year-old Maruti car. When my Maruti dealer said that it is all collapsing, then I bought another small Maruti car. It took me from point A to point B. What is the need of driving into potholes, which you cannot go for more than 20 kilometers per hour, or Rolls-Royce or Mercedes? A 1 crore car, which drives the same speed as a Maruti car, what great will you? Because you are internally insecure, you want to impress, you want to show off. One of the great things about internal security comes, you stop showing off. You become internally very secure. Could lead to World War III. Urban elite is a role model, and this is for all of you. Because the people in the rural areas, they emulate what people in urban areas. And if you live a very lavish lifestyle, then this is what you want. And through the media of cell phones and the TV, this is what they aspire. Because all the time in the TV, this is what the lifestyle is shown by the media people. Have a great lifestyle. Have an attitude. What a stupid advertisement. This is what we thrive. This is what we thrive. High technology with spirituality should be the mantra of development and basis of nation. And this is what I talk to youngsters like you, because very high technology shows, we have shown how it can help, and spirituality gives cap on our greed. Reduction of greed helps in making us happy and improving the environment. And a happy individual can then give back to society both knowledge and resources. And this is the sense of social enterprise and mission. Thank you very much.